Hey guys, Brett Weiss here. Welcome to another video. We got a new Intellivision Amico update. Yes, today, a brand new update from CEO Phil Adam. As most of you probably know, Tommy Tallarico is no longer the CEO, and he's been very quiet recently. He hasn't really released any public updates or statements or anything for a long time. I wish he would. I wish he would say something. But regardless, we do have a message here from Phil Adam, the current CEO of Intellivision, with an update. And this is a overdue update, but it is something. It is a bit of communication here, and I thought I would just read it. I skimmed it earlier today, but I thought I would just read it here again more thoroughly and just sort of comment as I go along, just doing some vlogging today, talking about my impression of this latest Intellivision Amico update. I've had a very simple outlook on this all along. I grew up playing the Intellivision, and I was excited about playing updated remakes of Intellivision games and about reimagined vintage arcade games. That sounded pretty cool to me. And at the $150 to $180 price point for a console with two strange controllers that actually worked pretty well once I got to use them, I was on board and I thought it was cool. But over time, over 4 years now, things have spiraled downhill, and it's gotten to the point where people who follow the Amico are just hoping something comes out. And I've noticed on certain YouTube channels and certain Facebook posts that there are still people counting on this console coming out, and they'll buy it no matter how much it costs, and even with one controller. And some of them people are even confident that it'll be out by Christmas time. I wouldn't hold my breath, but I do wish everyone the best of luck involved. So here we go. Amico news and updates. Greetings. This is Phil Adam. Now, this is an email I got just a little while ago, and that a lot of you guys, I'm sure, have gotten by now as well. This is Phil Adam, CEO of Intellivision. I had planned to respond sooner with the company status, but the team has been working through some production pipeline bugs that have delayed this update. The team is much smaller now. They've laid off some people, obviously, because they ran out of money. But here's another delay. As I've stated previously, updates from myself will be made when material facts are available and relevant. That being said, here are a few updates. Number one of the primary goals for the small pilot run was to uncover any issues in the production pipeline before starting a larger production run. Yeah, Intellivision did state that they want to come out with, a small run of Amicos, perhaps the pre-orders, get those out, and get consoles in the hands of people. And so he goes on. Fortunately, we did catch one significant problem. Now that's kind of worded funny. It's obviously not fortunate that they caught a problem, that there's a problem with the console. But fortunately, they caught it. He's just glad they caught it. If there has to be a problem, he's glad they caught it. Diagnosing this issue and implementing a solution was a significant effort and caused a delay. There's the D word again, delay. But it sounds like if he's telling the truth here, they had an issue and had something to deal with it. And I don't doubt there could be, an issue bringing this console out, perfecting this console, or whatever the case may be. Producing a game console is obviously extremely difficult, much more difficult than the Intellivision team, Tommy Tallarico and the gang thought. I think they thought this would be easier than they thought. Maybe they should have consulted with some people more. Maybe they did, I don't know. But regardless, it's been, you guys know, over 4 years of delays and price hikes and one controller and just excuses and delays. Whatever the case, again, I just like me some Intellivision and would like to see this, but I've lost confidence over more than a year now. And, things have sort of gone downhill for a while now. You guys know that. The symptoms pointed to a bug in the controller firmware, but that was not the case. Now, when I first skimmed this earlier, when it said the symptoms pointed to a bug in the controller firmware, I thought, okay, a lot of you guys have said they thought the controller was too complicated for what is supposed to be a simplistic console, and I totally get that. But he says that was not the case. It was not a bug with the controller firmware. The problem was an order of operations issue when provisioning the console on the production line with its unique identifiers and security keys. That's some corporate speak right there. The error manifested on the next reboot in a way that looked like a controller bug. With that resolved, the path is clear to finish the pilot run in the next few weeks. Let me know in the comments. I'm not exactly what he's saying here, but to me it sounds like there maybe sort of was a problem with the controller, but not, or something. Regardless, if you can get through that word salad, let me know. Number two, just vlogging here. I'm not going to do any editing. I'm not going to bug my editor. Number two, we signed a licensing deal with BBG Entertainment, GmbH, the details of which, of course, will be announced later. Here's a quote from Stefan Berenzen, Managing Director. We are very pleased to have licensed 4 Amico games and the original game versions from Intellivision. For the past 3 years, we have been working with Intellivision on the development of our games, Dino Blaster and Brain Duel for the Amico. Now, I'm not too excited about these 2 games. What I'm looking for is stuff like remakes of Astro Smash and not Beauty and the Beast. That's definitely a game I'm looking forward to. But Shark, which I played at the National Video Game Museum. I would love to see reimagined versions of this on the Amico or even on the Switch or something. Not really that wild about Dino Blaster or Brain Duel. That doesn't excite me too much because Dino Blaster is just a Bomberman clone, and Brain Duel, a lot of people have said that was just a cell phone game or whatever. And when I would fight back against this whole thing of Amico is nothing more than cell phone games, what I specifically meant was you could play a reimagined original Intellivision games on a console on your nice widescreen television set in the comfort of your living room. That's what I envisioned, and especially at the earlier price point. That's why I said these aren't cell phone games, because reimagined Intellivision games on your TV screen, those aren't just downloadable cell phone games or whatever, at least initially. That was what we were going with. When I was playing these games at the National Video Game Museum, what's been well over a year now, that's what I had in mind. So let's continue. We are excited about Amico and hope that customers will be as well. We are looking forward to offering the 4 licensed Amico games and original Intellivision versions on other platforms soon. Now, a lot of people said Intellivision should have done this from the beginning, just release these games on currently existing platforms. That's definitely a solid point, especially the mess they've gotten into now. Spending so much money over well over 4 years and really nothing to show for it. So anyway, we'll see if Dino Blaster and Brain Duel, these Amico games, come out for other platforms. Number 3, and we'll see what those other 2 are. So they mentioned 4. Number 3, we have another partnership deal, this is number 3 on Phil Adam's list of updates. It looks like number 3 is the last. There is no number 4. We have another partnership deal that will ensure that 2 of our most anticipated IPs will be available across multiple platforms as well as Amico. The details of that relationship, guess what, will be announced at a later time. The target for these IPs is simultaneously or later with the Amico release. Later, Given that we will have a limited number of Amico units initially, now this is kind of interesting. I am fascinated by this. If there is a rollout of Amicos and some people get these in their hands, I will be fascinated to watch some reviews or unboxings or whatever, real unboxings, and just to see what people have to say about it. I canceled my pre-order, you guys know that, so I won't be getting one anytime soon, if ever. But we'll see what happens if there is a small rollout. Given that we will have a limited number of Amico units initially, who knows when that'll be, if ever, these partnerships will get the games into more hands who have been waiting to play while helping get the word out to a larger audience. As stated above, we are doing everything we can to make sure that we have a stable system before starting production. I get that, wanting a stable system before starting production, but man, we are way past any reasonable delays for this. That is a key milestone in moving forward. I mean, even if they had to raise the price, even if they had to delay some titles, even if some deals fell through, even if they were low on money, just the fact that they still don't have a stable system so they can start production is really, really not a good sign, even at this late date with this new update, which really isn't saying a whole lot. So far, all I can see is that Dynablaster and Brain Duel may or may not come out in the future for other platforms and maybe the Amico if there's ever an Amico. So here he's wrapping up without really saying much of anything. I would like to thank you again for your support, and thank you to our internal team and external developers that work tirelessly to create a family gaming experience on Amico that brings people of different ages and skills together in group play. Now, I know people whose kids were, 4 or 5 years old when the Amico was, announced and maybe be coming out within the next year, and now those kids are 8 and 9, and it's a different story. Or maybe they were 10 or 12, and now they're 14 or 16 or whatever. And this is going to be a different group of buyers if this thing comes out, in some respects, because some people's kids have grown up. There are people like me that have grown tired of waiting for this console, or have lost confidence in it, or whatever. And to me, this update, it really doesn't say much. I mean, just beyond that they formed some partnerships. We've heard partnerships before. We have a couple of specific titles, Dynablaster and Brain Duel, that are not Amico exclusive, really. I mean, and originally they promised that Amico games were all going to be exclusives, and that sounded cool, sure, originally. But when they started having games that were just had Amico exclusive features, I was like, whatever. That didn't concern me too much. I didn't care. Again, I was just looking for, remade Intellivision games with modern-ish graphics. And just updated gameplay, more features, multiplayer and all that. I still want to play me some 4-player Astro Smash, even if I have to do it on my Switch. Still want to play some Shark, even though I may not be able to do it on that disc controller, which worked particularly well for that game. I played against the GameStop, the retro gaming buyer for GameStop. I played Shark against her, and that was pretty wild at the National Video Game Museum. All right, guys, for this video, please comment exclusively, or whatever. You can comment on the Amico in general, but I would prefer hearing about this exclusive new update and letter, because that's the issue today. This particular update, I've heard a lot of pro and negative, yay and nay about the Amico, and it's definitely been heavily negative, and that's fine. I mean, they haven't produced anything yet, other than some games you can't play. But if you could respond specifically to this email, you may have gotten it in your email, you can read it again, or maybe it's on their website, I don't know, or maybe you can just respond to my reading it, or to some of my comments. If you would do that, that would be awesome. Look, guys, I've got my advanced copy of the 100 Greatest Console Video Games 1988 to 98. 88 to 98. What an amazing time for games, the transition to 3D and all that stuff. I will do a video on this soon and crack open the pages, show you guys. It should be out in a few weeks for Kickstarter backers, for pre-orders, and that kind of thing. So look for that fairly soon. All right, guys. Thank you again. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. And for those of you who have been waiting patiently for the Amico, or who invested money in the Amico, or whatever, it's a bummer, and I hate that it's happened this way. I saw that Cyrus Martin, he's a guy that's about my age, and I spoke to him at the National Video Game Museum when we were playing Amico games and that kind of thing. He was excited about this, and I saw a video he did recently where he just kind of lost interest and doesn't even plan on buying it. I'm sort of in that category, but I am still interested in some specific titles, particularly the reimagined old stuff brought to new console. If I can play several games for maybe the Switch that are originally going to be Amico only, if I can just play a few of those, maybe I won't even need to get an Amico system if the Amico system even comes out. It sounds like they're kicking the can down the road yet again, and this update just didn't say much. I wish Tommy would come out and make a statement of some kind. I kind of understand why he doesn't, because I'm sure he would get torched over whatever he says. And I'm sure he's kind of embarrassed by this whole thing, or just discouraged, or whatever the case. But a public statement would be nice from someone other than Phil Adam, particularly Tommy. But whatever the case, hey, there are plenty of video games to play in the meantime. And if the Amico never comes out, it's kind of a drag. But at this point, who knows? Maybe we'll get another update in 2 or 3 months saying not much of anything. Maybe there will be a small rollout of this console. But at this point, I totally get it if you've lost faith. All right, guys, I could ramble on about this, but let's wrap it up. Again, thank you for watching. Comment on this letter from Phil Adam. And anyway, just thanks for being awesome, guys. We'll talk to you in another video. If you're a fan of my work, you might want to consider supporting me on Patreon. For just a low fee each month, you get a lot of extra content. Another way to support the channel and my writing career is to buy books direct from me, including the 100 Greatest Console Video Games, the Classic Home Video Game Series. It's like an encyclopedia set. And this massive bad boy, the NES Omnibus Volume 1 A through L. I will put links in the description of this video where you can buy books direct from me and where you can support me on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.